This is Professor Michael Chapman. I'm one of the most experienced IVF doctors in Australia. I believe that an important part that I can contribute is to educate patients in relation to fertility, infertility, and all that involves. These series of podcasts help to educate you. I hope they are helpful to you. If you wish to know more, however, I'm more than happy to have you contact me via email, which is profmchapman@gmail.com, or make an appointment to see me on 9138 4222.
Next question, Prof. If surrogacy is involved, what legal and ethical considerations should be taken into account?
Okay. Yeah. Surrogacy is legal in Australia. There's no legal barrier to finding a surrogate and carry your baby for you in Australia. However, surrogacy in Australia has to be altruistic. In other words, you can't advertise, I'll pay $50,000 for someone to come and carry my baby for me. That's not legal. Well, in a sense, it's not illegal, but if a clinic treated you knowing that was the case, they could lose their accreditation. And no clinic wants to run that risk. In most cases of surrogacy in Australia, the clinics demand that their ethics committee reviews why you are having surrogacy. They wouldn't be supportive of someone who said, "Oh, I just don't want to carry a baby, so I'll get someone else to do it." But if there's a medical reason, like 6 euploid embryo transfers, it's probably your uterus that's a problem, and therefore surrogacy acceptable in that scenario. A woman that's had cancer and lost her uterus but has her ovaries, and so she can make embryos but she can't carry the baby. They're all possibilities in relation to ethics committees being comfortable with you going through a surrogacy cycle. However, almost all clinics, I would say all clinics, require a few steps in the process, and they're not cheap. The first step is that to ensure that the surrogacy arrangement is going to be successful in terms of the surrogate not wanting to keep the child themselves, there's obviously a series of legal documents that need to be gone through, both from your side of things and from the surrogate's perspective, and they have to get independent legal advice that you'll probably have to pay for, but independent legal advice is part of the process. There are lawyers in Australia now who specialise in surrogacy, and because there's about 200 odd, 300 odd cycles of surrogacy done in Australia. So there are women who do feel comfortable carrying another woman's baby as a favour to womanhood generally, and often they're friends, or I've had mothers carrying babies for daughters. So it certainly can all be done. Most clinics also require a psychological assessment of the surrogate. She has to be psychologically stable. Again, it's to protect the possibility that she loses control late in the pregnancy and does something silly like running off with the baby. It's happened in the United States. To my knowledge, it's never happened here in Australia, but everything strange happens in America. They're the background to it. The woman, obviously, they call the commissioning mother, will have to go through an IVF cycle to collect eggs to give to the donor, to the surrogate, or create an embryo to put in the surrogate. We can't do surrogacy for using the surrogate's eggs themselves because of the genetic connection with the baby and the potential. It increases the potential that the mother may wish to keep it, and perhaps even on legal grounds be able to, because it's genetically connected. There is the possibility of using a donor egg if you've run out of eggs and your uterus is also bad. You can use donor eggs and your partner's sperm, create an embryo, and have a surrogate carry it for you.
How are parental rights and responsibilities addressed in surrogacy arrangements?
The legal requirement after the baby is born in Australia depends very much on which state you're in, and different states have different laws. It used to be that in all states that you ended up having to go through an adoption process, which took some years. But now there's something called a parenting order, which certainly in New South Wales, the ACT, I think in Western Australia, have been implemented, whereby prior to birth, the arrangements are discussed in a court, and the court provides a parenting order, which gives the biological parents immediate rights over the child. Obviously, they'll physically get the child at birth, but actually, initially, they are not their own legal child.
And don't forget that you can access all the previous episodes by going to our website www.theivfjourney.com and select IVF Journey podcast from the navigation menu.